In other news tonight, stunning new revelations in the crash of Germanwings Flight 9525. Prosecutors say the co-pilot who deliberately crashed the plane has been treated for suicidal tendencies years before he earned his pilot's license. And as speculation mounts over the co-pilot's mental state, new criticism, that is, tonight on how the cockpit door is secured. Are the post-9/11 rules keeping the good guys out? We've got up-to-the-minute analysis tonight with Sal Lagonia, a pilot and aviation expert. Sal, welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
Great to be on.
So this poor, twisted pilot who took so many people with him when he committed suicide, he failed to self-report some of the problems he was having. Should we have confidence in any self-reporting regime?
We certainly should in this country. I mean, we have thousands of very dedicated pilots. They're probably the most scrutinized profession in the world.
But not when it comes to mental health.
Not necessarily mental health, but certainly in the drug regimen that the mental health brings on. There's no way in this country that would not have been reported to the FAA and eventually to the airline by an AME.
But why not? Because it's required in Europe, and yet it didn't happen there. Why couldn't that happen here?
It does happen here, and it happens here on every major medical that a pilot has to take every 6 months. And has to self-report any medication he's taking, and then he's tested for those medications.
So Lufthansa here had some information, not all the information they needed. Is there any culpability here? You know, we're hearing about lawsuits. Do you think they can be successful?
Oh, the lawsuits will be successful. You can bet on that. There's the Montreal Convention, which controls some of these lawsuits, but it's very complicated. And you can bet that not only will the airline be sued, but anybody who had any ancillary involvement in his training, et cetera, all the way on up will be sued.
You know, we've seen some airlines go under because of situations like this. Will that happen to Lufthansa?
It's hard to say. Lufthansa is a very strong airline. They're a very safe airline. Up until this event, they have been fine.
Okay, so let's change and talk about the cockpit door, right? So this was a problem we thought we had solved after 9/11, right? Because we made sure you couldn't get into it, but maybe it's just as important to get out. Tell me what you make of the cockpit doors as they are right now, and should they be changed?
Well, I think this is a good point to make, that we shouldn't have too many unintended consequences with the quick fixes that we do make. We don't need quick fixes here. In fact, had we had the two-person in the cockpit in Germany at this time, we probably wouldn't have had this incident occur at all. That's what we have in the United States, and you can see now airline after airline worldwide are now switching to that policy.
Let's talk about the door. Exactly how does it work? We're showing video right now of the keypad where you toggle in the numbers. Tell us about that.
Having listened now to the transcript, we can see that the pilot tried to open that door by simply knocking on it. He tried to use the intercom. The pilot didn't answer it. And then he tried to use a code. And that code would have let the door open within 10 seconds. The pilot inside, the pilot who eventually crashed the plane, had to override that 10-second code and did that not once, but probably more than once.
So how do we prevent that from happening again?
I'm not sure we can, but again, the second person in the cockpit would have been able to at least startle the pilot long enough to get that 10-second code in, and also probably unlatch the door at that point.
Sal, thanks for coming on the show tonight.